that Harrington puts in there. It's everyone's been bombarding me with it on Twitter. I don't really want to go there, but Harrington or Lewis, you want to set this up, I guess, seeing as it's, I don't know, awkward for me to do so.
All right, so Harrington, yeah, jump on. You can set this up because people have been tweeting it at everyone. BYM, me, everyone. They're like, "Oh, is Bisping going to respond? Is Bisping going to respond?" So please,
you're gonna make me say this?
Yeah, read it in an Irish accent.
Forget it. I'll do it. Jesus Christ, Harrington. We're trying to keep the show moving along and flowing and going, and like we don't want 12 seconds of dead air. You had your chance, you blew it off the camera. Goodbye. So I get out of bed this morning and I wake up and Callum texts me. He says, "Hey, check Conor's Twitter." And I'm like, all right, I don't even need to bother because I guarantee he's talking some shit about me on there. Otherwise, Callum wouldn't be saying that. Anyway, I look and I didn't see anything because he deleted it. But then a few people started texting me. DC texted me and a few others. And I forget what the actual quote was. I don't know. He's talking shit. No, because we got on, I think it was last week's show. Because he was talking stuff about DC. And I said, oh, he's got to be careful. You know, DC's a heavyweight. He'll rip him from limb. To which Conor responded with, Bisping is a nobody on Sirius XM. Well, he's a little out of date there. That was 5 years ago. Rushed back to competition after being dropped, strangled, and then get shotgun slept by Gastelum's left hand. Devastating. Even though I collect commission on all his fights, I said to the team to pull the great fight, the Gastelum fight. I knew it was coming. And then there's a bit else as well. There was something else that he said. And everyone's like, oh, you're going to take that mic? You're going to take that mic? It's like, listen, I'm not lowering myself to it. He wants to get on Twitter. He wants to fucking talk shit, whatever. You know, I'm very, very happy in my life, and I don't need to lower myself to that. I do my talking like a man, and if I do tweet something, I stand by it as well. I don't delete it. I'm not saying I've never deleted a tweet. Maybe I delete it because I think, hold on, I didn't word that right, or maybe I was wrong. Do you know what I mean? But if I'm going to tweet something out, baby boy, certainly about someone, number one, have the balls to tag me. And secondly, don't delete it. Stand by your words.
Devil's advocate.
Devil's avocado.
Maybe he regretted it. Maybe he was like, you know what, that was a little out of line. Bisping's a legend. Let me delete this. And hopefully
Cat's
Bisping
out the
doesn't see
bag,
it.
baby boy. Cat's out the bag. Unlucky.
It's too fucking late, McGregor.
Nah, I don't care.
It wasn't even like that. Like it wasn't like that venomous. People are like freaking out over it. It's like, you know, yeah, you did lose your last two fights.
I couldn't care less. And then he's like, oh yeah, every time he fights, I collect a commission on his fights. Yoink, every time. No, you don't. You have never collected a penny of commission off me, mate. And I'm not going into details, but that's just that. I don't know what's getting deleted quicker. This was going to be my response. I don't know what's getting deleted quicker. Conor's tweet or his legacy. Because they're both disappearing down the fucking pipe. But still, there you go. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to get into it publicly on social media like I'm fucking arguing with some 13-year-old kids on Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm a grown man. I'm a commentator. I'm retired. It's not a good look for the UFC if I'm going back and forth with their biggest star on social media. It's childish, you know? So
I want to ask you about, I know you made some comments about Khabib and his legacy, and I just wanted you to clarify that just so people kind of can get an understanding here. I believe you said that he'd only beat three legit people in his career. What was sort of the, I guess I want to get your thoughts on Khabib and his legacy.
No, it's just, I just know what, to be honest. I looked at his record and he's also beat Edson Barboza, even though Edson Barboza is now 145er. When people mention Michael Johnson, I laugh at them because I'd beat Michael Johnson tomorrow. Who else has he beat? Al Quinta's an okay win, but when it's on 24 hours notice, it's a little bit, you know what I mean? I think Khabib's the 155 GOAT. I'm not saying he's not. He's the 155 GOAT, but he's not the greatest of all time. Like,
who is on your Mount Rushmore of GOATs in your opinion?
If we're going top 5, I'm going John Jones, GSP, Mighty Mouse, Anderson Silva, Fedor.
Kamaru Usman is chasing a ghost named George St. Pierre. Kamaru Usman is the greatest pound-for-pound fighter in the world today. He's just not the greatest to have ever done it. That still goes to George. One thing that George has over Usman, George cleaned out a division, but then he came back and did it a second time. Now that is what Usman is working on right now. That's what the rematch with Colby is all about. That's what the rematch against Masvidal was all about. That's what it would represent if Leon was to come in there. One thing those three guys all have in common, they've all lost to Kamaru Usman before. So I bring this to you because I do think there is some room for fresh blood. Look, Wonderboy Thompson sent out a tweet, and it went a little bit flat, but I still remember it. And it was after Usman had beat Burns. And Wonderboy said, well, I guess I'm next for the title shot because I'm the only guy in the top 5 that hasn't fought you yet. Even though that isn't a very dynamic and beautiful call out, he still makes a good point. You got to assume at some point Usman's going to want new guys, and I think that's where the door opens for guys like Luque, which is why I maintain for you, Leon has got to start fighting back.
Leon Edwards could get that title fight, right? But he could also get screwed again because now, guess who's entered the conversation? Your boy, Conor McGregor.
That's what I was going to
because
ask.
Conor entered the conversation, does Kamaru Usman have to pay attention to it, right? Like, I mean, look at Conor. Conor does an Axe the Notorious. Tremendous when they asked about the title shot and also fighting up at heavyweight 170. He goes, tremendous. I would love this record to be a 3-division champ. I fight for the 170-pound title. I will spark him. That will be the fastest knockout in UFC history, 13 seconds. Most knockdowns in UFC title fight history, 5. And then another KO in the UFC title fight, 3 title fights, 3 KOs, 3 records. It's right there. Then Usman goes, spark who? You must be talking about that pipe you've been smoking. Unlike you, if I'm going to talk, Lee, I'll you. Now be quiet before I call Poirier or Khabib or Diaz to finish you again, pound for pound king. But as we talked about with Poirier, Kamaru Usman, as a businessman, has to deal with this McGregor situation because Conor is hands down the biggest star in the sport.
DC, if I'm Kamaru Usman, if Dana White and the UFC want to make this fight, I don't know how y'all send y'all contracts in, DC. It could be different for y'all. But whatever way I send the contract in, it's going to be the fastest way I can freaking possibly send it. I don't care if I need to text it, if I need to email it, if I got to docu-sign it, or if I got to get a private jet and go to Dana White's house and figure it out. You get that deal done. One, because Kamaru Usman can smash Conor McGregor. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's more physical. He's the guy that's continuing to become more skilled. And do you know the money that Kamaru Usman can make? And you said it yourself early on in the show, DC. It's a log jam there. So give him an opportunity to get a super fight. And whether fortunate or unfortunate, the biggest super fight in MMA, in the UFC, is if you get a chance to fight Conor McGregor. If they came to me and we were doing this show one day and they said, hey man, you're not going to get to do the show because in 8 weeks, DC is going to fight Conor McGregor. He's going to come out of retirement. I would understand. And I would say, get your money, my dog. Because if you're Kamaru Usman and you see this, you absolutely answer, you absolutely reply, and you try to make it happen. You would fight him, DC, wouldn't you?
Well, you see that, but you see that in a lot of fighters, right? Like you see it in a lot of them. Like when Jake Paul calls somebody's name, they just rush to it because Jake Paul brings the eyes right now. Conor McGregor says someone's name, they rush to it because Conor brings the eyes always. So if you're Kamaru Usman, and this thing becomes a real possibility if you get through Colby Covington. I will say this on record, as I've said before. Colby Covington is the toughest fight for Kamaru Usman in the welterweight division right now because of his cardio, his pace, his pressure, and his wrestling. He is a very tough fight for Usman. But if Usman gets through Covington again and Conor McGregor fight is an opportunity, why wouldn't he do it? Any person with a brain would do that. Usman fought against Masvidal on 7 days when Masvidal had all the hype, right? When he had been knocking everybody out, got on the plane, stopped in Italy for the pizza, did all that whole thing, and he sold more pay-per-views than he's ever sold in his life. Then he fought him again, right? But he fought him again after fighting Gilbert Burns and seeing the difference in a pay-per-view against a guy that is a very difficult fight but may not have the name, and a guy that is a easier fight but has a massive name. So if I'm Kamaru Usman for my style, I'm definitely taking that or looking into it as an opportunity because you and I both know that Conor McGregor is the biggest star in all of mixed martial arts. And that won't change. Wins, losses, it won't change. He will constantly stay as the marquee name in mixed martial arts.
I think what shows that more than anything, DC, is Conor McGregor hasn't won a fight in an extremely long time. He's 0-2 in his last 2 fights against Dustin Poirier. I can't remember a time since this show has started. Granted, we haven't been talking about UFC together for a long time, but that we haven't spoken about Conor McGregor, whether it's a tweet, whether it's him about to fight, whether it's him after a fight, whether it's him talking about other people fighting. That's the type of draw Conor McGregor has created himself. This wasn't someone else. And I think the thing that's starting to be forgotten about Conor McGregor is he built his stardom on these, though. And those aren't the same right now. Those aren't having the same effect on the guy standing across from him. And I believe Kamaru Usman understands that, but he understands that the money that flows with him will still be there. I can remember it like it was yesterday, even though it wasn't long enough ago, when Conor McGregor was ready to walk out in Las Vegas. I watched people rush from the top of the arena just to get a look at this dude, just to get a picture on their phone, just to get a video, just to experience who Conor McGregor was. It was different. The electricity in the building, the energy was different. If you can get a part of that energy, you can also get a part of that money. And that's something every fight